Welcome, Leo, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and the zodiac forecast for week commencing the 9th of March. I'm going to share with you, first of all, the big themes of the week. Then on screen, your event chart on Monday, which is always influential. I'll unpack that. Then I'll go through each of those influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture by the end of the forecast of what you can expect this week in terms of relationships, finance, energy, and work. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. We're making our way through to the 135k mark. So this is a week where Venus and Saturn merged right at the end of last week. That's a mighty conjunction. Venus can be, of course, about relationships, but also about finance. But for you, they got together in the 9th house, which can be about your truth. If your truth didn't align with someone else's, that's an energy you're bringing into this week. But also on Monday, there is a very enterprising energy between two retrograde players, Mercury and Jupiter. What's the significance there? And also at the heart of the week, as Venus moves forwards, she does forge a very important alliance to the transformational energies of Pluto. Even if there was a pinch point in a relationship as last week came to a close, you're going to find out in the second half of this week who's really there for you. And yet also on Wednesday, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, which has been treading water in the sign of Cancer for the last 4 months in a retrograde, goes forwards through to the end of June, when he will arrive in your sign for the first time in 11 years. What's the significance of that? As the week draws to a close, Leo, we do have the retreating Mercury meet the advancing Mars in the sign of Pisces. That's quite a combination. What's that going to hold for you too? So on the screen is your event chart. As ever, we do need to be mindful of your ruler, the Sun, and he actually starts this week very close to the path of fortune. The parts of fortune can be very significant, and because they're both combined in the 8th house, I think this could be an intriguing week for how you use resources, which the 8th house can be about, but things like longer term resources, maybe thinking about pensions, investments, savings, and if you're more entrepreneurial, because the moon is in the part of your chart to do with your home and emotional security, it may be that something you could do from the comfort of your home could be calling out to you as you start this week. Not least because there is that enterprising link between Mercury, which can be about commerce, and Jupiter, which can be about trade. But they are both in water signs. They're both in retrograde. So I think that's quite a psychological combination. So you could have at the start of this week, despite the fact that Venus is just emerging from that crunch with Saturn, you could have quite a lot of deep thoughts about what you want to do about a key situation. It may be about a relationship, but it could be about a travel plan. It may be something you aspire to, but you're trying to understand whether the psychology within you is at the right place at the current time to really go for it. Now, in any natal chart, the planet which is closest to an angle is going to be influential. And that is for you, Pluto. Pluto has been full time since November 24 in the part of your chart to do with relationships. You're transforming your view of all sorts of connections. It doesn't have to be just in a personal or romantic context. And as this week goes on, Venus is actually going to forge a very strong sextile to Pluto. So even if there were some harsh words at the end of last week or some sober thoughts, as this week goes on, what you will be able to do is to comprehend much more clearly who's really there for you. And I think people who share your philosophy, who have similar values to you, are the people that you're really going to appreciate the most. But on Wednesday, we do have Jupiter go direct. Now, Jupiter is a planet which has a reputation for positivity, but that's through its rulership of Sagittarius. It is known as the greater benefit. However, it also traditionally rules the water sign of Pisces. And because for you, it's been in your 12th house, which has a Pisces echo since May last year. And Jupiter can be about religion, it can be about spiritual matters, it can be about healing. I feel since last May, there has been an opportunity for you to develop around your personal inner world in quite a strong way. But no doubt, like many of us, you may have felt that something was a bit stuck over the last 4 months with Jupiter in the retrograde. Jupiter goes direct at the heart of this week and right through to when he joins you at the end of June. You do have a chance to really get even stronger about the lessons that you have learned, the gifts that have come to you by looking at life in a different way. However, by the end of this week, Leo, we do have the advancing Mars in that eighth house. And if there is someone you're involved with at the moment and there is a real spark between you, that could be making for quite an intense connection, maybe a very intimate one, but that meets up with the retrograding Mercury on Sunday. So as the week comes to a close, you might have a very powerful conversation with someone. It could be because there's such a spark of attraction between you, but equally it could be that you're discussing those long-term finances I mentioned earlier. And if you don't both see it the same way, it could be a very frank exchange. But that doesn't mean to say it's going to be a bad thing. Sometimes getting things out into the open can actually help to lift the energy that's felt stagnant and inhibiting. So, to recap, when it comes to relationships, I think as you come into this week, if there has been a difference of opinion over a point of principle, a contractual matter, or perhaps you're not quite sure about what to do about a part of your life that you want to expand around and have lacked perhaps a little bit of assurance as the week goes on and Venus links very well to Pluto. If there have been tensions around a relationship, clarity can come from the heart of the week. But I also feel that if you are wanting to be more entrepreneurial with your resources, that's possible. But that spiritual and psychological dimension, which has been so strong for you since last May, if there has been a sense that things have been a little bit blocked, now that can be released. And you're going to be moving forwards in a more dynamic way. But as the week draws to a close, if you do have a frank exchange about money, a relationship, an intimate tie, or you're thinking more about where you want to use your energies to transform your situation, there is going to be a lot of intensity. To understand what March holds for you in detail, please click on your March deep dive. If you've yet to watch your Venus into Aries deep dive forecast, Leo, please click on that video. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. You can continue to order my personal horoscope reports, totally unique to each person they're produced for, at 50% off by applying Astro 26 at the checkout for Natal and Draco 26 at the checkout for those karmic, soul-orientated draconic charts. Have a great week, all the best, and goodbye.